Hello everyone, I decided I wanted to compare the original PlayStation version of Chrono Cross with the PlayStation 4's remastered version. So first off, I'll be doing actually a few tests, and in a few different ways, plus a few little fun things at the end. Now one tricky part is that everyone who watches this will be using different screens, like some on a high quality monitor or a TV, and some even on a smartphone and so on. So already that can change how it might look to everyone, so I just wanted to remind you guys of things like that. This first test is the more basic off the TV test, running a high definition TV and an old standard definition TV. I was hoping to use the original PlayStation, and while it did start up and get to the menu, it just absolutely refused to boot up the game. So I'm having to use this old PlayStation 2 Slim instead. Also, this old TV had been in storage for quite some time now, and I found that the RCA input for the video was kind of loose. So I actually had to put some duct tape on it just to hold it in place. I do have S-video and even component cables for a PlayStation 2, but the TV that had those inputs died many years ago, so I'm just stuck with this, unfortunately. And I do want to make it clear, and that for one, this is just a fun little test. It's nothing official by Square Enix, and that by no means is this truly accurate here on this first test, since I'm just filming it off the screens. Obviously, seeing this in person, as in myself, will be a bit more accurate, but unfortunately bringing everyone here to my living room isn't exactly an option, so the camera screen, it is. Alright, so here we go. So this is actually my first time seeing the remaster in person and not just a trailer or screenshot. Although I have read about frame rate issues and some of the stuff like that, I'm not even going to get into that part. We're just doing this for the pure resolution between SD and HD only. And there we go. And I do wish the SD TV was working a little bit better and I could have had better connections, but I wasn't gonna go and find one just for this. So now let's move on to something a bit more accurate. I have here two USB capture devices, one for SD and the other for HD. In fact, the HD one just arrived today, April 7th, 2022. So I actually had to go figure out how to use it before I even started doing this whole thing. One thing I do always notice with most of these comparison videos is that both split the screen in the middle are exact same resolution like this. I wanted to do the actual comparison between 1080 HD resolution and the 480 SD resolution. So here on this black screen, I'm adding a little white border around so you can see the edges. And here in Adobe Premiere, it is a definite 1080 by 1920 pixels. So that comes to a total of over 2 million pixels. You can zoom in and count them if you would like. And of course, hoping that YouTube doesn't change anything once it's uploaded and that compression doesn't mess anything up. Let's now take the SD footage and drop it into the timeline. Here is standard definition within HD space. You can see that it's drastically smaller, but in its native resolution, it looks pretty decent without any type of upscaling. Now, one thing I did have to do with the original game footage, I had to de-interlace it so it would look at least decent, otherwise it actually looks like this. If we zoom in, it's quite ugly looking. You can totally see how it interlaces between the fields. Now let's drop in the HD remastered footage and actually compare it. So this doesn't just show the actual changes they made to the character models, it's directly showing the difference between the sizes of the video and how it actually will look. Here, let me actually do a perfect split down the middle. Now let me just go ahead and actually blow up the SD footage so it at least matches the size of the HD. So with Premiere just blowing it up and no actual true upscaling going on, it's quite blurry looking. So now another quick thing I did was boot up the original game on the PS3 and run it through the HDMI cord, capturing it as an upscaled image. But it's of course still the original game. Now let's compare it this way. Now I wanted to have some fun and see how the original game will look upscaled to 4K. I wanted to still use the original PlayStation, but yeah, it's being moody. And if I'd gotten that to work, I would have actually used the old RF switch connector for the absolute worst low quality possible, just for fun. So, recording off the screen, as you can see, standard definition was never meant to be played on a 4K TV. And seriously, if I had an 8K TV, I would love to see how even worse that would look. The TV does the best job it can do to fill the whole screen, but it's not running any type of high quality upscaling programs. That's where the world of modding comes in. And speaking of that, I definitely want to see what other people make as a comparison video. I already expect modders to take this game and make it 1,000 times better than how this remaster looks. Okay, and now for one last final test. One that is the most possibly ridiculous thing I could think of, and that now all my neighbors probably think I am a complete psycho for doing. Projecting the original game from a PS3 onto the front of the house. You surely couldn't play like this. I couldn't even see the options to start the game once you've named Surge. And in the few minutes I took everything out here to do this, like every single neighbor decides to come home or leave the house. But hey, tests like this have to be done. And why? Well, why not? So thank you for everyone that's enjoyed watching this, and I hope everyone enjoys the game.